Let's get the latest in our summer reboot series where we explore ways to make life a little better. Today, the joys of volunteering.
Now, if you think you can't get into volunteer work because of the commitment or the cost, our next guest hopes to change your mind. Costa Georgiadis is the host of Gardening Australia. He's an advocate for community gardening, and I spoke with him. Costa, thanks so much for your time. Can you start by telling people who don't quite know what a community garden is?
Look, a community garden can take all different shapes and forms. At the moment, I'm here in James Street Reserve Community Garden, and this is just like a little pocket park in the back of the convergence of a couple of laneways. And the local community have jumped on board here, and they've turned it into a space that was pretty rough and tumble, this little park, and now everyone's really into it. But a community garden can also be like your school garden, and lots of people can volunteer and get involved in a school's community garden. So there's some of the shapes and sizes that they can take. Others are bigger, others are council run, others are a sort of smaller group run, others are bigger group run. So there's plenty of community garden options out there.
And so what are we talking about? People planting fruit and veg, or just nice plants? You saw some vines there. What have you got around you?
Look, I think the thing with a community garden, a lot of people think immediately, oh, it's all about food production. But, you know, John over here and in this community garden, they've set up a system where there's actually 6 rotating beds. And when you become a part of the garden, you actually move around over a month or so to each bed, and that way you get to know the other gardeners, and then at that point you can pick whether you want to be in the more shaded garden, whether you want to be in this one that's growing different types of vegetables, or this one that might be growing leafy greens. So really the garden's about growing friendships as well, and when it comes to, you know, summer reboot and coming up with ideas of how I can get out there and get more involved with life, I mean, a community garden's a great way, because I bought my my compost here. Now, You might live in a unit and you can't do anything with your compost, but why not bring it down here to the local community garden? They'll appreciate it because you can put it in there and help build compost to grow these gardens. And like this thing here, Compost Peddlers, this is a great thing I saw in Austin, Texas late last year, where people ride around on their push bikes and deliver green waste from cafes and things, and you can contribute to that. Just like in a school, you can go along and volunteer, because they need people of all ages in schools to help in their school gardens. They need elders for wisdom, they need youth for a bit of brawn and muscle. There's a spot for everyone. Well, I mean, you could get involved.
Well, how does it work? And some people will want to know, well, how do I fit in? Is there a pecking order? Is there a leadership? I mean, gardening's subjective, and people might like different things. How does it actually run?
I like the fact that you mentioned pecking order, because over here, these are my eggs from my garden, and people in my street, they bring me, you know, their scraps to a little bucket outside my place, and then I put, you know, half a dozen eggs out like this, and they get to see that, you know, each of the different girls has a different signature. You know, that's Sally, this was Kinky, this was Henrietta. I know who lays who, but to your question about a pecking order in a community garden, I think the best thing about gardeners is they're chilled in community gardens. They want people involved, and, you know, John and the team here, they're hungry for people to come along. They teach you so that, you know, you can look in the garden here, and I mean, this is Chinese, what's this one? Bitter melon. So suddenly you'll learn about vegetables you've never heard of. John's working over there on the Brazilian spinach. There's sage, traditional things that you know. There's eggplant, there's capsicums, there's beans. And the thing about getting involved with it is that you suddenly get to understand seasonality better. And if you understand seasonality better, then you'll eat what's fresh now. And then you can start to supplement that by going to a grower's market, meeting more farmers. And probably the best bet would be that you'll start to get more conscious about the labelling around your food. Because when you know, I know what's in those eggs. So suddenly getting a volunteering corner to your life will suddenly start to open up a whole lot of different areas, you'll meet new people. So instead of having to go to a bar or something, you come down and you meet new gardeners, you go to the school, you meet other parents, you get your kids involved. So there's lots of layers to the community side of things.
No, I agree. I know exactly what you mean about health. You become more health conscious. Talking about mental health, though, now, what does it do for people? I mean, the combination of volunteering, which is making yourself feel better about helping others, and also just those green leaves that you see around you. What does that do for a community health and the way people feel?
Yeah, when you come down here, I mean, I know people with their little back gardens or even just a balcony or a rooftop garden, just a small space. Once they get involved, even just with a pot plant, suddenly they want to come home and go out and see how it's gone today. I wonder how my plant's day at work was and can I help them? So when you start doing that, you take your mind off the phone and messages and emails and the web and all of that kind of stuff, and you just go out there, you can take a cuppa or a drink and just tend the garden. When you come here and meet people, that socialising takes you out of the house and pushes you, and from a New Year's point of view, I think a lot of people make these reboots and they go, oh I'm going to stop drinking, oh, I'm going to stop eating this food and I'm going to go on this diet. What you actually need is a balanced diet, and the balanced diet is about your social, your personal, your spiritual and your emotional well-being. And you come here and time stands still. I know I can come home to my garden and I'll just say, I'll go down and check on the chickens.
Yeah.
And an hour and a half goes by and it's like, where did that go? Oops, it's 8 o'clock, I better think about dinner. It's just here. I'll pick some out. So yeah, the mental health side of gardening is enormous because it's preventative.
Yep. No, it's terrific, Costa. Some great messages there, and people can go out and find their local community garden now and start to build them up. It's a lovely way to start the year for us. Thanks very much.
Absolute treat. Grow more.